Back, and we are here today, excuse me, to do the making the difference, exception to the rule, plenty of explanation life, but no excuses series. And today I'm going to do another story, another story about a friend of mine passed away. I think 2 or 3 years ago. Name was Dave Reynolds. Some friends of mine will see this and see it. But when me and Dave grew up, we grew up with there's probably 17, 18, maybe even 20 of us in the neighborhood that were ranged within 2 or 3 years of each other. Some of the older guys picked on us younger guys, and that's why I believe I became such a good baseball player because they'd let us play and they beat us to death and that kind of stuff. And we got to compete with those bigger guys and stuff. So, but there was a core group of us that kind of hung out. Murray Clark and Dave Reynolds, Steve Norman, Joe Silo. I'm probably missing a couple of guys. Danny Altman. There's another guy. Shoot, there's so many of them. Todd something, I can't remember his name, but there's a bunch of us that kind of hung out. But we all had those things where one guy would, I was a real tiny, little tiny guy with a big mouth, and my dad would always say, you're going to get a lot of fights. You're probably not going to win very many, but make sure that you do good enough that you don't get beat up by the same guy twice. So, but Dave was a pretty big fella. Dave was a big guy, and me and Dave got in fights all the time, and I whooped his ass. I whooped his ass every single chance I got. I tore him to shreds, and he was bigger than me, stronger than me, but all that stuff. But man, we just didn't like each other. And we'd play football together, and I'd get the better of him. And remember one time we playing a baseball game, he hit a long ball out to center field. I was playing center field, and I'm laughing all the way because I said, "I'm gonna throw him out. I don't give a shit where he's. I'm gonna throw him out." And sure enough, he's rounding third. I got the ball finally, and I threw it all the way in there. We nailed him by 3 or 4 feet, took away his home run. And I loved every minute of it. I get to third, he's stepping on my foot, and being and I said, "I'm gonna kick your butt after the game." So anyway, that's the kind of relationship we had. So one time at high school, we was there. He's getting bigger, and I'm still, getting in trouble and all that. I wasn't scared of him, wasn't afraid of him, none of that. And we got to fighting at the bus stop, and man, he hit me in the side of my kidneys and dropped me like a stone. That's the first time he got the better of me. And he could have beat me to tar. He had every right to tear my face off, kick me in the face, do whatever he needed to do to make up for all those years that I did that. He didn't do that. He picked me up, dusted me off, and he said, "The fight's over. We're done." And I looked at him, and I tell you to this day, this is the truth. And I said, "Dave, I'll never fight you again." I said, "That's pretty cool, pretty class act." I never fought him again. Never once wanted to. Never once did. Never we became kind of friends. Not close friends, but friends enough. And I don't think his parents ever knew, but is what it is. And so years later, I had a son, and I named my middle son, my first son, his middle name was David, middle name, which is David Cole. So my son is Austin Cole. So Dave got, I think, what is it, psoriasis? I think something like that, and he was going to die. And I went to see him, and he was glad to see me, and I was glad to see him. I hadn't seen him in a couple of years. He said, "I'm going to die." And I said, "Well, let's get your heart right, and Jesus and all that. That's important stuff to do." I said, "But until you breathe your last breath, you're not dead." But he was dying, and it was going to be soon. And I said, "Dave," I said, "there's something I wanted to tell you. I never got to tell you." I said, "I'm going to tell you a story about my son, and I named him your middle name because of what you did many years ago." And Dave, in the humorous way that he always did things, he said, "Well, why didn't you name him David Cole?" I said, "Well," I said, "that's good. That's pushing it." But anyway, that's the story, how my son got his middle name. And I remember when he did pass, I tried to tell that at the funeral, but there was this girl up there. This is stuff that irks me sometimes. And they give you 2 minutes to share something. And I thought this would be a nice story to share, especially for his parents that they're still alive. They're in their 80s, still alive. And Vivian, I think is his mom's name. I think she never knew that me and Dave reconciled and we're actually pretty close, kind of close. Not as much as him and maybe Matt Bailey or some other guys, but me and Dave, I never ever had another problem with him, or him me. And I wanted to share that just to get her know and make her feel good. And then my grandson is named Cole. and they call him Cole. So his legacy, even though he never had kids, continues to grow. And it's just a neat story. And so I wanted to share some at the funeral, but didn't work out. Some girl got up there and talked for like 30 minutes. And I was like, when she got done, of course, I said, wow, thanks for taking everybody's time. But, maybe it wasn't meant to be. But maybe this story will get to some of the people that we know and friends. Maybe it'll get to you. And maybe you'll say, hey, man, that's pretty cool. That's a neat story. But anyway, that story of my best friend, which really I don't even know if you could call him that. But I call him that. And I never say rest in peace, but until we meet again, and I think Dave's going to have that opportunity. I hope I do. And I just want to share that story with you. And we'll be back with some more 5-minute videos on the exception to the rule, plenty of explanation in life, but no excuses. Thank you.